This is the video for Wednesday, March 22nd. Number 1 says, what is the length of the side? I want to point out that this information that's given to us is perimeter. So we know the perimeter is 24. So we need to figure out the 4 sides that we're going to add up in order to find the rest of the perimeter. We know one side so far is 9. Because this side is 9, we know the other side is going to be 9, and now we just need to figure out the last 2 sides. So this is the work that we should see on your paper in order to prove how you found your answer. Number 2 is a pretty straightforward multiplication problem. 7 times what equals 21, and we can think of it as 7 groups of what makes 21. Number 3, what is the distance from point S to point K? We can see we're making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 jumps. However, we don't see our answer being 20 in the answer choices, so we really need to think about the distance that we're traveling from point C to point K. And the best way of doing that is breaking down each hole into the parts that we see based on the number line and figuring out our fraction from there. Number 4, what is the area of the length below? We know length times width gives us area. So that's our equation we're going to use. Number 5 is a pretty easy peasy problem for subtraction with a lot of regrouping. So make sure that you're taking your time and really thinking to yourself, I have 4, they want 9. Do I have enough? No. Go next door, borrow 1. Cross me out and make me smaller, put a 1 up on my side, not on my head, not on my back, but on my side. And now I have 14, they want 9, do I have enough? Yes. And now we can work through this problem. You're going to have to go through the same steps for each place value. And I also suggest using addition to check your answer to know that your answer is correct. Number 6, what is the length of the what is the length of the line to the nearest fourth? So again, we can see there's 1, 2 holes, and now we just need to look at what's left over. You can color in your tape diagram to figure out how many of those fourths you're going to have for that length. Number 7, what is the same as 4/8? We want to make sure our denominator is the same, and we're looking for our numerators to add up to 4. So using that information, you can look at these answer choices and see which one your answer is going to be. Number 8, Mara went to the hair salon at 4:08 p.m. It took 33 minutes to get her hair cut. When did she leave? So we know our start time and we know our elapsed time. We just need to figure out what our final time is going to be. And again, we can start by adding 10 and working through the problem until we get to 33 minutes. Number 9, on which day were 21 cupcakes eaten? We know that a picture of a cupcake is worth 6. So we need to look at which one is showing 21. If there's half a cupcake, it's going to be half of this number. So again, using what we know from our key to figure out the answer to this problem. Number 10, which of the following is a characteristic of a square? We know what a square looks like, so we can use the picture to kind of help us figure this out. And we can go through each of these choices and think, does that apply to this picture or not? Number 11, we're breaking down a harder multiplication problem so that it's easier. We can break down 70 into 7 times 10. 7 times 10 gives us 70, so nothing is changing, the value stays the same. And now we can multiply 3 times 7 and get 35 times 10 to get our final answer. Number 12, which of the following represents the sum of 538 plus 294 rounded to the nearest hundred? I had a student yesterday that added these up first and then rounded the final number, but he got the wrong answer. So please make sure that you're rounding these numbers first. We want to round first and then add them to find our answer. We're rounding to the nearest 100. Our first 100 is 500. The next 100 over is 600. And we know 550 is in between. Same thing with 294. Our first 100 is 200. Our next 100 is 300. And 250 is in the middle. So now that we have our number lines, we can figure out, are we rounding down or are we rounding up? Again, we're always going to round to one of these outside numbers, never to the middle number. That middle number is just helping us figure out, should we round up or round down? And then once you've rounded, you can add those two numbers to find your answer. Number 13, which fraction is equivalent to 1/4? Again, I saw some students drawing a picture to help them and then decomposing to find their answer. We do want to make sure that we're also able to do the math part of it. So we should be able to show 1/4 times a number, the same numerator and denominator, in order to get a new answer. So if you have a picture, that's fine, but we also at this point in the year want to be pushing for this equation because you're going to be using that a lot in 4th grade. Number 14, what is 8/6 in mixed number form? So we're going to use number bonds in order to help us out. We can definitely make one whole, 6/6. And then you're going to think about what you have left over. I have 6 right now. I can go up to 8. So I'm going to then think about, I have one whole and then what's left over. Number 15, Miss Christie bought 5 packs of pens. Each pack has 8 pens. How many total pens does Miss Christie have? And we should have an equation for this problem and then our final answer. I'm going to point out this word each. Each pack has 8 pens. Number 16, looking at this equation here, we have 6 rows and 2 columns. I can break that down then into other rows and columns. So if I drew a picture, I could see 6 rows, 2 columns, and then this equation over here is just breaking that down again. So we can see our columns changed. So our rows should stay the same, and our columns would break down into 1 and 1. So this is just like a drawing to kind of help us visualize this equation going across and help us figure out what this missing number is. Number 17, what is the perimeter of the figure? It's so important that we're reading the directions so that we don't accidentally just jump right into the problem and solve it incorrectly because we think it's going to be area. But this is asking for the perimeter. We do have some missing sides we need to solve for, so we can use our squiggle and our straight to help us out. So I should see what x equals on your paper as well as what y equals, and then we're solving for the perimeter all the way around the outside. Number 18, which of the following would be the best unit of measurement for a glass of water? We're thinking about which one would be the best for a glass of water. Would it be a liter, a milliliter, a gram, or a kilogram? Which of those is the best measurement for a glass of water? We talked about volume and filling something, and think back to that lesson and what kind of objects we were talking about. Number 19, we're just looking at story problems. We're looking for one that's talking about multiplication, and is specifically using the problem 5 times 4. You're going to look at each of these story problems and think about which one would be using 5 times 4 to solve it. And number 20 is using 56 divided by 7, thinking about which one would be using division in order to solve it. As always, make sure you're showing your work and talking with your teacher in the morning if you have any problems or questions about something from the homework. Hope you have a great night.